Imagine searching YouTube for like a simple step-by-step tutorial on how to draw a husky dog.
Right, something totally normal.
Yeah, exactly. You click the video, you get your paper and pencil ready, and you turn on the captions to follow along. But instead of instructions on shading or pencil grip or whatever, you find this looping, glitching, deeply emotional eulogy to a dead father.
Which is just wild when you think about it.
It really is. Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're analyzing what might actually be the most profound piece of accidental art hiding in the absolute most mundane corner of the internet.
I mean, the contrast between the expected utility of this video, right, and the actual emotional payload it delivers is just staggering. We're really looking at a masterclass in unexpected depth here.
Let me set the stage for you. So this comes from a YouTube channel called Fine Arts Relaxation Unwinding.
Very descriptive.
Right, super literal. And the title of this specific video, complete with a little paintbrush emoji, is How to Draw a Husky Dog Easy Step-by-Step Drawing Tutorial for Beginners.
So if you want to learn how to draw, this is the exact, highly literal, search engine optimized video you'd click on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you actually look at the audio transcript, like if you read what is being spoken aloud over the footage of the drawing, there is absolutely zero mention of art.
None at all.
No husky dogs, no erasers, no blending techniques. Instead, the entire transcript is this looping, highly poetic ode to a father figure named Dad Now.
Which completely shatters the whole transactional nature of the video. You show up for a functional lesson and you're immediately plunged into this entirely different emotional territory.
Yeah, and we aren't doing a lesson in art today. Our mission is to really explore the psychology of relaxation media and the ways our brains process dual-layered information.
And really the profound themes of legacy and memory that are just hiding in plain sight here.
Right, but before we even get to the poetry itself, we have to bridge the gap between the visual and the audio. Like, why pair an ode to a father with a completely unrelated dog drawing tutorial?
Well, the answer actually lies in the channel's name, Fine Arts Relaxation Unwinding. In the realm of ambient media and ASMR, the visual element is rarely meant to be instructional.
It was more of a vibe.
Exactly. It serves as a visual anchor. We really have to look at the mechanics of cognitive load to understand why this works so effectively.
Meaning, the drawing is giving the busy part of your brain a simple task to chew on so the rest of your mind can just power down.
That is the underlying mechanism, yeah. When you watch someone slowly, methodically trace the lines of a drawing, you're engaging the pattern-seeking logical part of your brain.
Right.
Your working memory is actively occupied with, predicting the shapes, following the pencil strokes, and just processing the geometry of the image. By occupying that working memory with a low-stakes task, you are actively suppressing the brain's default mode network.
Okay, and the default mode network, that's usually responsible for our internal monologue, right? Like the part of the brain that ruminates on past mistakes or worries about tomorrow's to-do list.
It's the source of a lot of our daily anxiety, frankly.
Oh, totally.
So when you force the brain to focus on the hypnotic, predictable movement of a pencil, you quiet that internal noise. Your critical filters just lower.
Wow, okay.
And that creates an open, unguarded pathway straight to the subconscious. That's the exact moment the audio creeps in.
Oh, I see. So the repetitive, rhythmic poem about this protective father figure acts as like a soothing mantra.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It bypasses your analytical defenses because, well, your analytical defenses are entirely preoccupied with the husky dog.
So you aren't sitting there analyzing the poetry.
Yeah.
You're just absorbing the feeling of it.
Right.
Think about the things you put on the background to relax or fall asleep. Maybe it's a specific movie you've seen 100 times or, a let's play of a video game. How often is the actual literal content less important than the feeling of safety the audio provides?
We absolutely use media as a blanket. The visual is the distraction, but the audio is the payload.
And the specific payload in this video is designed to be a very heavy, very warm blanket. Like the way this father figure, Dad Now, is constructed in the text is incredibly deliberate.
Yeah, it doesn't rely on generic platitudes at all. There's a precise mechanic to the language that actively builds an emotional sanctuary for the listener.
Let's look at how the poem constructs that safe space, because the imagery starts out very grounded. The poem describes him as someone who is, quote, always there with a smile on his face, turning broken things back into place.
Classic dad stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. The guy with the toolbox who fixes the leaky faucet or whatever. But then the text immediately pivots. It says he builds castles with dreams and debris.
Oh, wow.
Right. He transitions from physical handyman work to profound emotional repair.
And that pivot is the core engine of the poem, because the debris in that line isn't, broken drywall or scattered wood. Paired with dreams, debris becomes the emotional wreckage of everyday life.
Like the disappointments, the failed ambitions, the exhaustion.
Exactly. The poem elevates this figure from a mechanic of the house to a mechanic of the soul. He takes the ruins of your bad days and constructs something majestic and protective out of them.
The text goes even further to solidify that protector status, too. It says he has a laugh that heals the deepest scar. Again, moving from a physical sound to an emotional remedy. But the line that feels the most heavily loaded is when the narrator says, "This father knows the words to unsaid prayers."
Yeah, that line just taps into a very raw, very universal human fantasy.
You mean the fantasy of being completely understood without having to, explain yourself?
And not just understood, but cared for proactively. I mean, when we are suffering, one of the most exhausting aspects of that suffering is the sheer administrative burden of explaining it.
Oh man, yeah, having to find the words, articulate the pain, actually ask for help.
It requires a tremendous amount of energy that you simply don't have when you're in distress. But this father figure, this guiding star, as the poem later calls him, he bypasses all of that friction.
He intuits the pain. He already knows the unsaid prayer. And he provides the answer without demanding that you perform your grief for him.
Which is incredibly comforting. The text literally calls him a shelter from life's pain and a home in a stormy sea.
And by looping this over an ASMR drawing tutorial, the video is inviting the listener to just borrow that sanctuary.
Right?
Think about your own guiding stars for a moment. Who are the people in your life who intuitively anticipate your needs when you were feeling low? The ones who just know what to do without you having to draw them a map.
That's the emotional nerve this seemingly bizarre husky drawing video is actively pressing on.
But, as effective as the intentional poetry is, the most fascinating aspect of this entire source document isn't actually the original poem itself.
No, it's what happens to the poem as it loops.
The glitches. Because our source material isn't just the audio track, it's the auto-generated transcript of the audio. The video just loops this poem over and over, but as the audio repeats, the transcript mutates.
It's wild to watch it unfold.
Let me walk you through this because reading it is just crazy. In the first loop, the text says exactly what it's supposed to. It says, "He's the home in a stormy sea." But by the second loop, the transcript glitches. It says, "He's the cow in a stormy sea."
Cal with a capital C.
Right. And in later loops, it degrades even further to, "He's the come in a stormy sea." And then the final line of the stanza is supposed to be, "I'll pass on the love without end." But the transcript never quite gets there again.
No, it completely falls apart.
In one loop, it says, "I'll pass on the love without shines." Then it abruptly cuts off in another loop with just, "I'll pass on love without it."
The machine listening to the audio literally begins to fail, and the meaning actively dissolves. It serves as a strikingly accurate parallel for the cyclical, degrading nature of human memory.
Okay, wait, let me play devil's advocate for a second here. We are reading auto-generated captions on a cheap, repetitive relaxation video. The software is just buggy. So, are we over-intellectualizing a simple software failure? Isn't it more likely that YouTube's AI is just incredibly bad at parsing lo-fi looping ASMR audio?
We are absolutely looking at a software failure. There's no doubt about that. But that's exactly what makes it such a perfect mirror. Auto-captioning software relies on two main components.
Okay.
An acoustic model that processes the raw sound waves, and a language model that predicts the most likely sequence of words based on context. When audio loops continuously without introducing new contextual anchors, the algorithm's confidence begins to degrade.
Oh, interesting. So it gets, tired.
Yeah, it experiences a form of algorithmic fatigue. The language model starts hallucinating, throwing out wilder guesses to force meaning onto ambiguous, repetitive sound waves.
So because the machine isn't getting any new information, it starts misinterpreting the old information?
Exactly. And the human brain, which is also, a complex piece of hardware, fails in remarkably similar ways when dealing with memory.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, in neuroscience, there's this concept called reconsolidation. When you retrieve a memory, you aren't pulling a pristine video file from a hard drive. The act of recalling a memory makes the neural pathway malleable.
It becomes vulnerable to alteration.
Yes.
Which means every time you replay a memory, you aren't actually remembering the original event. You are just remembering the last time you remembered it.
Right. And over time, the edges blur. Think about how we remember the people we've lost. Immediately after they're gone, our memories of them are sharp. We remember the exact intended words, home and a stormy sea.
Yeah.
But as time passes, we replay those memories in our minds, over and over in a continuous loop, and the neural pathway degrades, much like the AI's context window.
Wow.
Home becomes a garbled concept. We lose the exact sound of their laugh. The grand promise of love without end slowly starts to fragment. The image is still there, but the precise details bleed away.
Watching the transcript break down from love without end to love without it is honestly devastating when you frame it that way. It's like a visual representation of forgetting.
It really is.
But there is one specific glitch in this transcript that goes beyond just forgetting. It actually changes the entire meaning of the poem.
Ah, yes.
The big one. Near the end of the stanza, the narrator is reflecting on his own life, looking back at the father figure. The line is intended to be, "The man I am is the dad in me," or "the dad of me." It's a pretty standard sentiment about inheriting your parents' traits and passing the torch.
But in the very first loop of the transcript, the acoustic model misinterprets a single vowel sound.
The machine transcribes, "Now I stand strong. It's plain to see the man I am is the dead in me."
The dead in me.
Yeah.
That single accidental keystroke by an unthinking algorithm forces a complete recontextualization of the text.
It injects a layer of mortality and grief that wasn't explicitly there before. Or, I don't know, maybe it was always there and the glitch just dragged it to the surface.
I think so. If the man I am is the dead in me, then this isn't just a tribute to a living father. It is a eulogy. It's an acknowledgement that our identities are forged from the ghosts of the people who shaped us.
Those dreams and debris that he used to build castles.
That's the inherited legacy of those who have passed on. We literally carry the dead within us, and their influence dictates the shape of the people we become.
What makes it so powerful is the absolute lack of intention behind it. Like, the algorithm didn't understand poetry, it didn't understand grief, it just misheard a syllable. It heard dead instead of dad.
Right, but human beings are meaning-making machines.
Exactly. When we read that transcript, we immediately weave that glitch into a profound tapestry.
Which brings us full circle to the psychological mechanism of the entire video. The viewer's analytical brain is distracted by the husky drawing, leaving the subconscious open to absorb the emotion. Simultaneously, the AI's predictive language model is fatigued by the looping noise, leaving the text open to mutation. Both the human and the machine are stripped of their strict literal interpretations.
It leaves behind a blank canvas for us to project our own feelings of legacy onto. You know, you watch the text glitching from love without end to love without it. You can look at that and see a technological failure.
Sure.
Or you can read it as the ultimate tragic truth of losing someone who acted as your sanctuary.
Yeah.
Eventually, you have to figure out how to pass on love without them there to help you do it. You have to pass on love without it.
It just highlights the fragility of the legacies we try to leave behind. We build these internal worlds hoping they last forever in the minds of the people we love.
But time, much like a looping audio track running through a faulty processor, degrades the specifics.
Exactly. What remains isn't the flawless, exact memory of the person. What survives the degradation is the emotional resonance.
The unsaid prayers.
The transcript might forget the word home and turn it into gibberish, but the rhythmic cadence of comfort remains completely intact. The feeling outlasts the literal facts.
So we started this journey looking for a beginner's guide to drawing a husky dog. We expected a purely functional exchange of instructions, a pencil, some paper, a few blending techniques.
And instead, we explored how repetitive, rhythmic media acts as a psychological tool to bypass our logical brains and soothe our subconscious.
We unpacked the imagery of a father turning life's dreams and debris into castles, providing a sanctuary that doesn't demand we articulate our pain.
And we found accidental poetry in the glitches of an evolving AI transcript, watching a machine perfectly mimic the shifting, degrading, and ultimately beautiful nature of human memory.
The transcript we've been looking at today doesn't have a neat, tidy ending. It doesn't resolve the poem or fade out gracefully. It ends abruptly, mid-loop, cutting off entirely with the phrase, "I'll pass on love without it."
A sudden, unresolved stop, just like life often is.
Yeah. So as you go about your day today, and you interact with the mundane, everyday instructions, the transactional moments, the simple routines of your own life, look a little closer at the media you consume and the tasks you perform. Beneath the surface of your daily routine, what hidden emotional subtext or unsaid prayers are actually driving your need for comfort? Who built the castles out of your debris? And ultimately, as the years bend and the specific details of your memories begin to glitch and fade, what kind of love are you passing on?
stand strong, it's plain to see. The man I am is the dad in me. And as the years gently bend, I'll pass on the love without end. He outshines the rest, always there with a smile on his face, turning broken things back into place. He's the calm in a stormy sea, builds castles with dreams and debris, with a laugh that heals the deepest scar. Dad's my light, my guiding star. Dad is my best friend, oh it's true. He's the one I'll always look up to. In his shadow I've grown so tall. With his love I've got it all. Joke and lets the laughter flow, knows the words to unsaid prayers. Life's bright because he always cares. Through the fire and endless rain, he's a shelter from life's pain, built a world